Planty People. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I want to talk about the plants that I have struggled with the most in year 2020. It's not just the people who have struggled this year. My plants have also struggled as well. Some plants that I really care about quite a bit have just decided throughout the year to be little poop heads and not work with me, not cooperate. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I have a lot of plants and I haven't been paying attention to each and every single one of them and watering each and every one of them as they need it and giving them the exact amount. That has nothing to do with it. It's just because my plants decided to be rude and not be happy, and it's their fault, not mine. Okay, so as you can see on my makeup chair, I have displayed some of my plants that have been disobedient this year. Some of them, like this emetrium medium silver, are doing better and they're having a much better time. But for a while, some of them were putting me through the ringer. I have two plants that I don't have pictured. One is hanging right up above me and it is intertwined with my Hoya australis lisa, and just to get that down and to untangle it just for the sake of the video is not in my best interest or either of the plants, so I'm just gonna leave them there for the time being. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about my emetrium medium silver first. Now this plant is doing so much better these days. Let me turn you guys a little bit more. It's doing so much better now, putting out this brand new leaf right here, and it's put out this new leaf not too long ago. I know this is really super like bright right now, but I'm like vibing sitting on the floor talking to you guys because I got a new microphone for my second channel. Go check it out. It's called Hanging with Heather. But I got a new microphone for that channel, and in order to use it, I'm like sitting down on the ground and it's like right in front of me. So it's not that far away from my mouth and it can pick me up a lot better than just like my regular camera. That's what we're working with for right this moment until I figure something better out. Anyway, off that tangent. Okay, so now this guy is doing so much better. I'm so incredibly thankful because this guy cost me a pretty penny. I think this was probably one of my most expensive purchases. I bought it from a lady off of Instagram, and she's really like one of the only people that I see sell it. I know Peace, Love, Happiness Club sells them, but I really wanted to support this lady instead. Whenever I got it, I think it had just a tiny bit of root rot, which was the first time I was really experiencing root rot, so I wasn't 100% sure that's what it was whenever I got it. And so because I wanted to give it the benefit of a doubt, give the seller a benefit of a doubt, I tried to pot it up the normal way that I normally would, and it wasn't really working. And once I squished on the roots a little bit more, they just like slid right off, and it just wasn't a good time. So I ended up cutting them off, putting them in water. It wasn't rooting in water, so I put it in leca. It wasn't rooting in leca, and then I put it back into water, and then it finally started rooting. And I waited for those roots to get really long and really well established before I decided to pot it up. I wanted to put it in soil just because when I had put it in leca that previous time, it made me nervous, and I've had a really good time taking care of it in soil since I've made that transition. So definitely would recommend. Very happy plant. I love this guy. Brings me a smile to my face now, but I was super worried about it for the longest time. Oh, not to mention that while it was trying to regrow its roots, one of my cats jumped on my table and took it out of the water vessel and was playing with it in the hallway, so it's got a few bite marks. I know I probably sound like I've told this story numerous times, so if you're an OG subscriber and you've been watching all of my channels or binge watching them, sorry. But I know that there are new people watching each day. Yeah, that's what happened with this guy. He's doing so much better, but he was one of my main struggles that I had in year 2020. I actually have 3 Hoyas that I struggled with really severely in 2020, and one of them is my Hoya croniana splash. I think that's what we're calling it now. This used to be referred to as the Hoya croniana Eskimo, which is what my tag actually says, but we are not referring to it as Eskimo anymore because that is offensive. And I think it's just the croniana splash. And then if you have the super splashy one, it's just called super splash. But this guy rooted up really, really well for me at the beginning of the year. I don't remember every single detail about this guy, all the ups and downs that it's had, because it's had a lot of downs. And it started doing, I put it in leca recently, and it started doing really, really well. And now, if you can see, it's like totally crisped up and it's getting ready to do bad again, and I don't know what to do about it, which is kind of odd because it's got roots like coming out of the leca, like out of the net pot, which is really super confusing. So I'm just like, are you doing good? Are you mad, bro? Like, what's going on? The next one I want to talk about is my Hoya linearis. I actually just recently potted this guy back up into leca. I've had it rooting in water for a really long time. I actually got this as a 4-inch pot from Plantarina, and it was a really good price. I think it was like $45 including shipping. And at the time, Plantarina was like the only person who was selling a Hoya linearis, especially in an actual pot. Because a lot of the times whenever I was originally looking for this plant, you could only find cuttings of them on like Etsy, and they were super expensive. They were like $50 for just one cutting plus shipping. It was really outrageous. And so whenever I knew that she was coming out with them, I just decided to really watch my emails and wait for that alert for her restock. And I actually snagged one, and it's really unfortunate because this guy was so beautiful, so healthy. And then I converted it into leca, and very much so like one of my Hoya bellas, I didn't completely submerge the roots like far enough down into the leca, and they dried up completely. I noticed one day I was looking up at my shelf where I had them, and all the little foliage was just like slowly but surely falling off. And so whenever that happens, I took it down, really inspected it, and noticed that they were just completely drying up because I didn't have them far enough into the leca, nor was I keeping the leca wet enough. I was letting the water reservoir go completely dry, and this, from my experience, is an absolute like no-no. Ever since I've been keeping water constantly in the reservoir, I've had much better success in leca, and I think you guys will too. So I'm hoping for a turnaround with this guy. He's doing so much better. I only have like 3 cuttings now whenever I did have a completely full plant, so hopefully he'll regenerate fast and I can take some more cuttings later on in the future. Okay, so Hoya Tensii. I've had this guy for a hot minute. He's doing so much better, but for the length of time that I've had him, he should probably be pretty big. Like, he should probably be in like a 3 or 4 inch pot by now. But I had him outside. Oh my goodness, it is so bright. I'm so sorry. But I had him outside for a really long time, along with like another Hoya and my croniana. I had them both outside, and they kept on getting tipped over by the wind. I didn't have them in a heavy enough pot because I didn't have one, and I don't know why I didn't just like get him a heavier pot, but I was just being lazy. But he kept on falling over every single time there would be new growth, like something would happen, the wind would knock them right over and like knock off the new growth, or in the process the new growth would just be very unhappy and just fall off because they got knocked over. As a last ditch effort, I put this one and another Hoya into leca to just try and see if I could save it, and it has worked. It's got some new growth. It's got 3 new leaves up here, a new growth right here, which you guys should be able to see right there. And there's also this little guy coming out at the bottom, which is very exciting. But like I said, struggled with this guy for a really long time. I got him from Taylor Greenhouses, which at the time, I haven't looked at the prices recently, was really, really cheap. This was a really cheap Hoya website. I think I might have got him for $7 or so, but this was pre-pandemic. This was like Hoya's getting really, really popular, because maybe at the beginning of the year, not as many people were obsessed or really into Hoya like they were and are into aeroids. So I got this guy for a really good price, and a few other ones. It's doing much better now, but gosh, has it been a struggle bus. I'm pretty sure that one of my really good friends, Plant Me Ashley, is going to disown me for talking about this guy in this manner, but my string of hearts is doing absolutely awful. And it's so upsetting because I love string of hearts. I think they're so pretty and so cool. I have another one outside that is literally like one strand, and I got it off of Etsy as like a three strand cutting. They rooted really well and they did really well, and then they got mealies, which is really unfortunate because it made the strands like really sparse and long, and all the foliage was falling off. But by the time I realized that it was mealies, I got all the mealies off that I could see. I repotted it, and it's just not been doing very good since, which is why I only have one strand left. I actually propagated several of the strands, and I had like 3 more, and they were doing okay, and then they just weren't liking being outside, and they've died off now too. So I bought another one off of Etsy several months ago. The picture was a little bit deceiving. It looked like it was going to be a really full, well-established, like smaller pot, but it wasn't. Whenever I got it, the packaging was so bad that like all the soil had like come out of the pot. It was all over the place. I was very upset with it, but this is what it looks like now. There's still some salvaging I can do with this guy. I need to repot it. I need to do something because there's still like some new growth that I see in there. I'm almost like really embarrassed that this happened to this guy. I think what I need to do is just get a more established plant. Like hopefully I can find it in person. I'm pretty sure I could get one over at my local nursery called Wild Roots. Pretty sure I could get one there and have a much better luck and a success rate than what's been happening so far this year. And last but certainly not least is going to be my Philodendron Subhestatum. Also not pictured here because I had to throw it away. I got it in a trade, and it was a beautiful trade. It had really good, well-established roots. It had a really beautiful leaf, and it also had a new growth point from where a new leaf was getting ready to emerge. This plant looks so good, so happy, so healthy. And then it just goes to show you that you could have the best specimen, you could have the best plant, and then like it just doesn't like your environment, which is okay, and it helps us learn. But that leaf that it came with completely yellowed upon arrival. But the new leaf decided that it was never going to fully unfurl or emerge. It stayed really tiny the whole entire time. I took care of that plant for several months before I finally gave up on it and threw it away, which is unfortunate. It was a really beautiful plant. It was a really good trade. I'm not in any way, shape, or form unhappy with the trade. It just didn't work out, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Please comment down below if you have had any particular plant struggles in this year or last year or right now. Like, what plants are you struggling with at the moment? If you like the content, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you really like the content and you want to stick around for more to come, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you guys soon and in the next one. I'll see you guys later. Bye!